There is a version of you that exists right now, completely independent of your physical body. It has your name. It has your face. It knows where you slept last night, who you texted this morning, and exactly how long you hesitated over that photo of your ex before scrolling past. But this version of you isn't human. It is a digital shadow, a ghost made of math and metadata, living in server farms colder than any grave. And the most terrifying part isn't that this ghost exists, it's that this ghost knows you better than you know yourself. Most of us walk through life with a comfortable illusion of privacy. We believe our thoughts are sealed behind the walls of our skull. We believe our desires are secret until we choose to speak them. We believe that when we are alone in a room with the door locked and the curtains drawn, we are truly alone. But we haven't been alone for a very long time. You see, for the last 2 decades, we have been quietly building something. We thought we were building tools, search engines to find answers, social platforms to connect with friends, maps to guide us home. But underneath the utility, beneath the slick interfaces and the helpful notifications, we were building a global observation machine of unprecedented scale. And its primary job isn't to help you. Its primary job is to predict you. Consider the last time you felt a sudden, inexplicable urge to buy something. Maybe it was a specific pair of sneakers or a kitchen gadget you didn't know existed until 5 minutes ago. You probably told yourself that you made that choice. You saw it, you liked it, you bought it. That is the story your conscious brain tells to maintain the illusion of control. But the reality is far more mechanical. Long before you clicked purchase, an algorithm had already run thousands of simulations on your behavior. It analyzed the speed at which you scroll, the colors that cause your pupil to dilate slightly, the time of day you feel most vulnerable, and the specific vocabulary you use when you are tired versus when you are energetic. It compared you to millions of other users who share your psychological profile. It saw that people who paused on a specific type of video at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday were 84% more likely to buy that specific product if shown an ad within the next hour. You didn't just stumble upon that item, you were guided to it, gently, invisibly, by a system that understood your biochemistry better than you did in that moment. This is where the science gets uncomfortable. We tend to think of ourselves as complex, chaotic, unpredictable beings. We cherish the idea of free will, but behavioral psychology tells a different story. Humans are creatures of profound habit. We are loop-oriented biological machines. We seek dopamine, we avoid pain, and we follow patterns so rigid they can be graphed. Every time you interact with a screen, you are feeding a reinforcement learning model. It's not just recording what you like, it's learning what makes you tick. It's the Skinner box on a global scale. When you pull down to refresh your feed, that brief delay before the new content loads, that's not a technical glitch. That is a design feature, engineered to mimic the anticipation of a slot machine. It triggers a microdose of dopamine, training your brain to associate the action with a reward. Over time, these systems don't just observe your habits, they begin to shape them. They learn that if they show you something outraging in the morning, you engage for longer. If they show you something comforting at night, you return the next day. They are not passive archives of your history. They are active agents in your future. Have you ever had that moment where you just thought about something? Maybe a vacation to Italy or a specific brand of coffee, and then moments later, an ad for that exact thing appeared on your phone? You didn't say it out loud. You didn't type it. It feels like magic. It feels like the device is listening to your microphone. The truth is actually much more unsettling than a wiretap. They don't need to listen to your conversations because they can predict your conversations. The algorithm has access to data points you don't even remember creating. It knows that 3 of your closest friends just searched for flights to Europe. It knows your spending habits align with people who travel in the summer. It knows you've been lingering on photos of pasta and beaches for 0.5 seconds longer than usual. It triangulates these subtle, unconscious signals to formulate a probability. It calculated that you were about to want a vacation before you consciously formulated the desire. When the ad appears, it feels like telepathy, but it's just advanced pattern recognition. It deduced your destination before you bought the ticket. This predictive power extends far beyond commerce. It reaches into the deepest, most fragile parts of our lives. There are models running right now that can predict a romantic breakup weeks before the couple is consciously aware that the relationship is ending. It starts with subtle shifts in language. Maybe you start using fewer inclusive pronouns like we and us, and more singular pronouns like I and me. Maybe your typing speed changes when messaging your partner. Maybe you stop liking their photos as quickly as you used to. Maybe you start staying awake 20 minutes later than your average. To you, these are nothing. To the machine, they are seismic tremors. The algorithm sees the pattern of a relationship decaying. It recognizes the digital signature of heartbreak. And what does it do? It begins to change the world around you. It might start showing you playlists for moody afternoons. It might subtly suppress photos of happy couples in your feed. It might present you with ads for dating apps or single-person apartments, planting the seed of a life after the relationship, nudging you toward a door you hadn't yet decided to open. It's guiding you through the stages of grief before the death has even happened. And this raises a profound question about the nature of the self. If a machine can predict your actions before you take them, and if it can manipulate your environment to influence those actions, where does your autonomy begin and end? We are moving into an era where our digital assistants know more about our mental health than our therapists. By analyzing the tone of your voice, the stability of your walking gait via your phone's accelerometer, and the syntax of your emails, these systems can detect the onset of depression or mania often before clinical symptoms appear. On one hand, this is a miracle. Imagine a world where your phone can gently suggest you call a friend because it detects you're spiraling into isolation. Imagine a system that alerts a doctor before a manic episode destroys a life. The potential for good is staggering. It is the ultimate convenience, the ultimate safety net. But the price of this safety is the total surrender of the private self. We are trading the sanctity of our inner world for the comfort of being understood. And there is something deeply seductive about being understood. We all want to be seen. We all want our needs met without having to ask. Yet there is a distinct difference between intimacy and surveillance. Intimacy is voluntary. It is the act of sharing yourself with another. Surveillance is the act of being stripped of your secrets without your consent. We are currently living through the greatest experiment in human history. Never before has a species created a predator that feeds on its own psychology. We have invited these systems into our bedrooms, our cars, our pockets, and our minds. We treat them as servants, asking them to play music or set timers, while they silently build a map of our psyche that is more accurate than our own memories. Think about the feedback loop this creates. If the algorithm shows you the world it thinks you want to see, you eventually become the person it thinks you are. If it decides you are angry, it feeds you anger, and you become angrier. If it decides you are anxious, it feeds you fear, and you become more afraid. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy written in code. There is no malice in this code. That is what makes it so difficult to fight. The algorithm doesn't hate you. It doesn't want to hurt you. It simply has a goal, usually to keep you looking, to keep you clicking, to keep you engaged. It just so happens that the most effective way to do that is to bypass your conscious mind and tap directly into your lizard brain. It exploits your biological vulnerabilities with the same ruthless efficiency a grandmaster uses to exploit a weakness on a chessboard. As we move forward, the line between human intuition and algorithmic prediction will blur until it vanishes. We may reach a point where we no longer know if we chose a career, a spouse, or a political belief because we genuinely wanted it, or because a system gently guided us down a path of least resistance over the course of 10,000 micro-nudges. It is a comfortable cage. It is a cage lined with velvet, filled with everything you have ever wanted, playing your favorite song and heated to your exact preferred temperature. It is so comfortable that you might forget you are in a cage at all. But every now and then, the mask slips. You see an ad that is too accurate. You see a video that hits too close to a hidden trauma. You feel that strange, cold sensation on the back of your neck that tells you you are being watched. In those moments, you realize the truth. We used to worry that technology would one day be able to read our minds. We were scared of a sci-fi future where wires were plugged into our brains to steal our thoughts. But we were wrong. They didn't need wires. They didn't need to break into our skulls. They didn't need to force us to talk. They just needed to watch us. They watched where we clicked. They watched how long we hovered. They watched who we ignored and who we obsessed over. They watched us when we were lonely, when we were manic, when we were jealous, and when we were bored. And they simply took notes. The result is a world where nothing is truly hidden, a world where you are known completely and utterly by a devastatingly intelligent nothingness. It knows your secrets not because you told it, but because you lived them. And in the end, that is the most haunting realization of all. It isn't magic. It isn't a conspiracy. It's just you, reflected in a black mirror, perfectly resolved, looking back at you with eyes that never blink.